The following is a special presentation of the PDF Sports Network.
Good morning. What's up, what's up, what's up? Make sure we're good. Ha! April showers. Sure enough. Ha! There we go. Cool, cool, cool. Oh, we're good. Give me a moment to share with the community. Bum, 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 bum. Bum, 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 bum. Here we go. Tune in. Next. Good morning. What up, Kev? Congratulations. For some reason, you can't get a game that doesn't include rain. It's just one of those years. 2 years ago, not last year, the year before, we had rain every single weekend. That was the monsoons, and it was crazy. Last year we had nothing, so I guess this year we're getting back to weekly washouts. So it is what it is. At least football is being played. No optional football. I love it. NEAFL. Good morning, NEAFL. We got something to talk about because one of your players was disrespectful, so I'm definitely going to handle that. Pause. Double pause because the reason why I have to say something about a particular player in the NEAFL is because he decided that when his feelings are hurt, he's going to invite people to his genitalia, which is a big no-no for those that know me. Yeah, we don't do that. So, not that it's ever okay, because it's never okay, but it's one thing to invite people to your genitals. It's another thing to do it, and then I look at your game, and you are doing absolutely nothing. You're on the field the whole time, but you're doing nothing. What's up, ECFL? Tapping in. Give me a second so I can take a look at the comments. What up, Big East? Good morning. What up, New England Football League? Good morning, good morning. Midwest. Good morning, Midwest. Hopefully your weather was better than ours. By the way, Midwest games, I definitely want to get out to one of those games, especially one of the ones at some of those nicer stadiums that you guys are doing things at, because I'm seeing University of Cincinnati, and it was like, I forget what the name of the stadium is over there, but playing at the University of Cincinnati is pretty dope. Definitely would like to check that out. I know Racine's starting up pretty soon. Definitely want to do a breakdown of how those guys are doing, especially with the new, let's play competition thing, and we're not playing in our own backyard the whole time. Although I did see this updated schedule, and it looks like they're playing in their backyard a lot of times. But we'll talk about it later on. Maybe Duncan can come on when we're closer to the start of that season. I still think it's a little early for that. And then we will take it from there. Spring blue shoes. Cool. All right. Nope, that's not what I want. Nope, that's not what I want. Boom. All right. Morning, Jerry. How are you, sir? Good morning, Bailey. Happy Sunday. Good morning. Good morning, some Chesky. Yeah, Project Back. What up, what up, what up? We are building a boat. Yes, indeed. They have the football on an arc. Maybe you could do like one of those battleship games like they do in college basketball for Memorial Day or whatever the holiday is that they, Veterans Day, whatever it is that they do the game for. What up, Tubby? Tubby, where in the world is Tubby San Diego? Did you make off with somebody's poll? Pause. Wow. Somebody's graphic. Still a pause. Did you post something that you were not supposed to post? Because you were like a prime suspect on a national search. I have to get the semi-pro CIA out on you. What the hell happened? That I need to know, because I've never seen them get that upset and threaten to eliminate a whole entire region over one player posting something, which is wild. So let's get to it. You shared a poll, as I always do, and you got caught. I'm not going to ask you how you got the thing to begin with, but that's weird. Okay, so it's so very weird. What up? What up, Nooch? Oh, I called you the other day because one of your incoming freshman quarterbacks is in my middle school. So I was calling to check out, just to kind of give the handoff, so to speak, and make sure that he's in good hands. That's dope. What up, Daryl? How you doing, sir? So what do we got going on? So the first thing is, let me address this NEAFL character. So I don't even, I had his name. I don't know his name. I forgot his name. Whatever. His name's not important. He wears number 14 for, let me get this right. Where's number 14 for the Reading Raptors? Okay, so there was a play yesterday. All right, so this is the clown in question. All right, so maybe, and if I'm wrong, tell me I'm wrong. So this is the clown in question. Of course, yesterday he's playing against the Wilmington Wolfpack, and as you can see here, he's coming off the field, off of special teams, by the way. And he's getting barked at by his coach. I don't know what he's getting barked at for. He looks like he doesn't know. But let me explain to you why I chose to point out this young man. Because this young man, there was the game yesterday where, oh, do I have it? Do I have it? Do I have it? Hold on. I should have it. Nope, I don't have it. There was a play yesterday in the game. Let me flip back and then I'll find it and then get back to you. Reading Raptors, Wilmington Wolfpack, where a football went up and then there was simultaneous possession. Now, for those of you who don't know what simultaneous possession is, it is a rule that states that if a receiver and a defensive player are both basically catch the ball at the same time and they both possess the ball at the same time, it's the football version of tie goes to the runner. So on the NEAFL page, which it's the NEAFL Players Lounge, there was a guy who, honest mistake, I guess, if you want to call it that, was calling out the refs because he didn't understand why it looked to him as though the defensive player caught the ball. So here's the play right here. Bam. Full screen. Got it. And if I'm bugging, please let me know I'm bugging, okay? So now I'm over here. So these referees should be investigated, says Steven. Clearly, it was an interception. Regardless, good game, Wolfpack. So I'm guessing that he lost and he's upset because, by the way, great cam work on this, by the way. So here's the play. Back to pass. He's looking. He throws. And it is, boom, caught by both. Simultaneous. Do we have Visa Sky Cam? No. Are we going to sit there and do like a slow motion thing? We could, but ultimately what you're going to come up with is simultaneous possession. So he felt as though because there's a simultaneous possession, because his guy got up off the ground with it, that he could somehow wrestle this into not adhering to the rules, right? So as a result, he made this post. So there's a bunch of people, including myself, that says, hey, if both have possession, it goes to the offense, regardless of who wrestles it away with it. Now, here's the thing. As I've said this before, stop criticizing the refs if you don't know the rules. Because what happens is they screenshot this stuff, and then when you actually may have a point, you may have a point. they don't listen to you because they know that you don't know the rules. So, this guy, Marquise, whatever, invites me to his genitals, talking about being an eater. So I just asked him to keep me out of his fantasies and such, and wished him good luck. But then, you know me, I have, of course, Tubby will tell you, beautiful. Yeah, it was a great play, right? Cool. So yeah, so this idiot, Marquise Pires. So I don't want to, let me, whatever. We're all grown here. So this is this idiot's comment. Oh, so we got to do that. Gotcha. So now I'm pointing out. Oh, okay, gotcha. So you wanna talk about being an eater? Okay, so let's talk about it really quickly. So I broke down, as I was going to do anyway, because they have great film from yesterday, the Wolfpack versus Reading game. And what I noticed is that this guy is, he's a slot receiver. He's on special teams, and he actually gets down and makes the play on special teams often. And then he's one of those special teams guys that like beats his chest and, oh, look what I did type of stuff. So then, but when he's on offense, like he doesn't do anything, like at all. Like his routes are absolutely terrible. He's looking back for the ball the whole time. Like he doesn't even like run a route. He just runs into space and like looks back for the ball. Now here's the thing, right? And boom, this is why you don't want to do that with me. Okay, so let me just switch to this so I can really highlight the stupidity of this, right? So now you wanted some attention, so now I'm going to give you some attention. This is this simpleton right here, okay? Look, now it looks like his shoulder pads are like three sizes too big for him. But I'm going to leave that alone. It looks like he skipped leg day. I don't know how his ankles even bend that way into his shoes. I don't know, okay? I'm not sure about this, but what I am sure about is if you are going to be on offense in semi-pro football and you are going to be a receiver, you need to be able to block. Now, you know where the play is. Look at these feet. Like, I don't know how feet that are that small and ankles that are that light can possibly miss a block this bad, right? You know where the play is going, right? In fact, everybody knows where the play is going. It opens directly to the right. It's dive, right? So now you, again, I'll talk about an eater. What you did was you ate wind on that one. Like you just completely missed. You know what your assignment is, dude. Where are you going with this? Now, this isn't even the worst of what you did, so I'm not going to sit here and take a whole show to point out how stupid this looks, right? Number 14 from the Reading Raptors. So if you're playing the Reading Raptors, just you don't even have to cover this kid. You don't. Now look, he goes across the whole entire formation on dive, mind you, trying to catch up with the guy that he was supposed to block. And then look at this, he just falls on top of somebody randomly, right? Because this is what these guys do, because they want to, in the past, this would be like when you would get your uniform dirty, like those guys that want to get their uniform dirty. So the guy looks up at him like, you are such an idiot. No, now you want to mix it up. You want to be mixy. What is wrong with you? So this is the reason why we need to check for CTE, or if there's some type of way to check for it before getting these guys on the field, because this is just stupid. Now, again, look at that. Your feet are terrible. Just absolutely terrible. And that's probably why Coach was laughing at you, by the way, or yelling at you. I was laughing at you. Coach was yelling at you. But again, you're not my player because I would just keep you on special teams. But again, good job on special teams. So I will give credit where credit is due. You did a decent job on section. You did a good job on special teams. But that's just about it. So again, this is what you want, right? So if you want to, again, simultaneous possession, I just made the point. But if you want to make a mockery out of yourself and you're on film, we're going to talk about football. We're going to talk about football. That's what it is. So what else happened yesterday? So let's run down the scoreboard besides one stupid dude that decided that he wanted to be get some attention this morning. So cool. You got some attention. In what was a interesting game, Crusaders Corrections. It was an interesting game, not a very dynamic score. Corrections beat the Crusaders 8-6. I have to highlight from the Crusaders score their offense. But again, their offense was essentially in week 1. So what'd you expect? Their defense scored their only touchdown. Game of the day today, and could be the game of the week, is the Kingston Lions versus the Bengals. The Golden Lions, now take a look at this. Golden Lions ended up winning 26-0 over the Black Panthers, as you can see there. Dolphins and Wolfpack. That was the spread makers. All the stuff that y'all talk about the spread makers. Well, not all y'all. Sadiq Nathaniel, that's pretty much it. But you talk about the spread, and Molly as well. I don't like you, Molly. Talk about the spread makers. 18-12 Wolfpack over the Dolphins, and that was a 12-12 game going into overtime. So that was 24 points in regulation, and the game ended up being a 6-point game. Boom, with a spread at 5.5 in favor of the Wolfpack. So, just putting it out there, the spreads are legit. Just putting that out there. So, let's go NEAFL real quick. NEAFL, Owls took care of the Eagles 12-0. So the Owls are now off the schneid, so to speak. Maybe just as we all were thinking in the beginning of the year that they are a late bloomer every single year. They start off slow, but then end with some quality football. Let's see if they do it. Eagles need to find something to get this thing together and make a run. They're on the pretender versus contender watch. Unit 14, Panthers 13, and then stop me if you heard it before, Wolfpack 14, Raptors 13. So again, last week it was 2-14 zips. This week it's 2-14-13. It's kind of interesting. So the unit looking pretty solid. Maybe they're consistent now. I don't know. So we shall see. And then, boom. But unit, again, very interesting. Wolfpack remain unbeaten and beat the Raptors 14-13. And what was a really good game, by the way. And again, Raptors at one point were up in that game, I believe, early. Wolfpack looking pretty solid. So they're going to go up the rankings because of their quality win this week. And I'll share with you my rankings right now. But again, it is pending today's game against with the Lions and the Bengals playing out in Betsy Head in Brooklyn. I think it's a noon or 2 o'clock game, one of the two. Anyway, earlier game. The Tide remain undefeated against the Bullies. So both Delaware teams, the first state, has not claimed a first loss yet, which is kind of interesting. So they took care of the Bullies 14-6. The Bullies in what continues to be a very big struggle in their title defense is running into some issues. So somebody mentioned competition. I don't know. Might just be finishing football games. I don't know. And then the Vikings lost to the Militia 35-6. This is another one that kind of got me as well because the Vikings all week long were posting highlights from their loss last week, especially offensive highlights of things that have been called back due to penalties and such, which is in itself annoying. They have way too many penalties on offense, way too many. And they have talented players, but just play undisciplined football. So I did not see the Militia Vikings film. I did not see that game. But by looking at the score, 35-6, I would bet a significant amount on FanDuel that there was penalties that had to do with that as well, because they're playing undisciplined football. ECFL, Falcons 41, Chargers 0. Again, the spread makers hit that pretty much on the nose with a 41.5 over-under. Just putting that out there. And the upset of the week, Bulldogs came back and beat the Ducks in the fourth quarter comeback. We have the touchdown that sealed it, 29-20. They were up 21-20 and then got a late score to pull away. That was pretty cool. Bulldogs, after hitting Granny with the chair and taking her walker, I guess that got them in the mood to play some more physical football, and they were able to hang with the Ducks. Go figure. Cardinals and Raiders did not play football, so it appears as though, and I asked my ECFL Connect about whether we're playing optional football now or not. They claim that they're going to give the Raiders another chance. So, again, I disagree with this trend, but, who am I of you not playing a football game? I think the excuse being batted around was they were missing their quarterback. Find a backup quarterback. take your lumps. It's not like the Raiders were going to win that one anyway. But player schedule, first and foremost, player schedule. And then allowing a team to play after not playing their schedule is even wilder. So apparently the schedule stays as it is. We'll take it from there. We'll take a look at what they have in front of them to see if they'll be able to finish out the season. Warhawks, 19, Bruins, zip. Bruins offense, again. They were threatening and this was another game that was in the indoor facility in, I think it's either New Hampshire or Maine. But really cool. Again, I know you guys get annoyed by the lines or the lack thereof. I don't care. Indoors, that's pretty cool. Big bubble. Pause. Great job. Great job by the Warhawks getting that facility for home games. And there was a little canopy area, not canopy, whatever, a little overlook area, a veranda. You could watch the game. That'd be really dope for selling tickets and stuff. I'm sure they're doing stuff up there because the Warhawks, although they don't travel to play competition, one thing they absolutely do is they are a well-run organization up there. That stay up there. So Warhawks unbeaten, and they'll move up in the standings. Bruins stay winless, and it gets tougher. Well, not tougher, but it gets just as tough from here when you look at their schedule ahead of them. So should be interesting from there. So those are the scores from yesterday. And from there, let me just take a look. Boom, boom, boom. Nope, I got people watching. Got it. See if my guys. Oh, I see Juan in the comments. Good morning, Juan. Did you happen to see any games yesterday? Time out, you go. Has the team. Oh, time out, you go. So. Todd. I'm going to stop put me on the timeout. Oh, wow. ECFL also has been. Oh, the ECFL also has a team playing optional football. Big E says a team playing optional football. Gotcha. Big E says it. Okay, so let's be fair. Big E says a team that's not finishing games. And not finishing games is not acceptable. No, that's so. This is great, kind of. I appreciate it. Appreciate you, Todd. Ending football early is also optional football. Okay, gotcha. Okay. Yeah, ending games early is whack. And by the way, the Black Panthers got a very tough schedule at it. So, no, that's a good question. So, for the folks, we're off to a great start. I hope optional football is not back. That's considered optional. Gotcha. Okay. So, tapping out is the same thing as not showing up at all and saving the money and not paying referees. I'm not sure if I agree with that. I think it's bad. It's not. Is it the same? No. Is it just? It's bad. It's bad. I'm not going to give a pass. It's bad. But by the way, we've had other. See, now we've gone down that road. We've had other games not finished because of piss poor emotions. So is that just as bad? So now we have in I think all three leagues we've had people not being able to handle their emotions, and before the clocks hit all zeros, the game ends. Is that just as bad, or tapping out, or is that optional football as well? If it's not going their way, let's just give up. Okay, so is fighting over emotions and not finishing that as well? Are we putting that in the same boat? Because I want the same energy next time somebody at the 4-minute mark is getting whooped and then starts a fight, and then it's the same. It's not the same, but they're under the same umbrella. I like that, Tomcheski. Okay, I will agree with that 100%. Same umbrella, not the same umbrella. I like that. Because there were other games that did not finish. Bulldogs Chargers game did not finish. It did not go to all zeros. Too early with matches start like from time to time. So yeah, it's so funny. The three Bleezys on Thursdays always starts late, and I guess not the same, but still bad. Everything costs. Gotcha. Okay. You never can get mad. Are they just afraid of getting 70 put up? Right. And I don't think teams are really going to do that. Like those, the leagues, the way that they're set up now, except for maybe the Warhawks. I've seen the Warhawks do it to people, where they just don't give a damn and they'll put up 70 on you and not care. Even if I could put up 70 on you, I'm not gonna embarrass your program like that because I don't want you folding and making the league look bad. If you cannot compete, why bother trying to field a team? Good point. Good point. But if you so Vicky, so let me reply, and again, not specific with ECFL, but just across the board. Why are leagues just taking everybody, knowing full well that they can't get through a season? So if a game is not going their way, they could just quit. Oh yeah, starting a fight is quitting. No teams pay referees for 4 quarters. Yes, they should. Team dropping out, not finishing a game, I feel is worse. Showed up in the rain, getting got cut short. People could get backups in as well. Okay, so you try and get reps in. Been there. Yep, gotcha. At least they quit before the game. Gotcha. What about because this came up last year? There's no consequences for team actions. Yeah, the leagues do homework on the teams, Dario. They definitely do. But the biggest okay. So when any league starts up, the first question out of everybody's fingers when they type is, how many teams y'all got? How many teams y'all got? You don't think that adds to what's going on here? That leagues feel that they need to just stack teams. It does not matter. Nice. It does not matter if they could finish or not. They need the logo to go up on the website. In fact, as soon as they see a whole bunch of logos, even if half of them, the ECFL trick, Jim Harmon trick, put up bad logos knowing half them teams ain't gonna field, but everybody's like, oh, that's fire, that's fire. The Eastern Connecticut Giraffes and the Southern Northeastern Bedford Central Boston Lunatics. Oh wow, that's fire. Oh, never heard of them. Startup team. You know they're not going to get through. They don't even got uniforms. But y'all, oh, fire, fire. But now it's a problem. So that's why I kind of say that not finishing a game is bad. But playing optional football where you don't even try to get out there, you don't even try to put a product on the field, and you pretty much call it a day before even wasting your time by going out to the park, to me is worse. Is that coffee? That's coffee! Say good morning to Miss Pat.
Good morning, everyone.
I'd rather have 6 teams. Oh, that's a good. Oh, I got bacon too. Bacon. So the dress is crazy. I'd rather have 6 teams competitively. Now, yeah, but okay, so that's it. Oh, don't do that. Don't do that. Because that's not what you guys say in the preseason. And this is Pat. This is what Patterson does. Patterson reminds people who they were in the preseason, and then when the season starts, when you change up, because I see the same people here. How many teams? How many teams? How many teams? Y'all weren't talking about nah. Let's get the raggediness out of here. Nah, delicious. I agree with, however, not quitting. Yeah, quitting is terrible. 23. Yes! This is the Richmond Flying Squirrels, by the way. Double A team for the San Francisco Giants down in Richmond, Virginia. Shout out, Mom. Hi, Mom. Quitting the third is crazy, ridiculous, and waste of time. You looking for guests? Guests are more than welcome. Absolutely. %. We'll take guests. There are 10 teams out here. They're absolutely killing. Why not in one league? Because if you look at the map, great question, Daryl. Because if you look at the map, there'll be more forfeits and more issues if you put all of that geographic area in one league. New York teams don't want to cross the bridge. They don't want to go to. I didn't ignore your comment. Where's your comment? Oh, maybe I did. Are you looking for guests? And I said, yeah, and then I invited you. And it says adding. Sensitive as. You guys don't want to play in the same 6 teams? Yeah, it's the same combo every season. Oh, how many teams? They don't care if the teams are good or not. Okay, so while we're doing that and Spence is being added, but Here we go. This is the Crusaders game from yesterday. Boom. Get some sound like this.
They declined the illegal touch.
Shout out to PDF.
But you could take the result of the play
Boom.
and a pick six. Flags are down. But here we go.
Shout out
Malik
Malik
Sanders
Sanders.
picks it off in the flat, and it's to the house for the touchdown. There was a flag, Joe.
There was a flag.
Sanders might have got.
And the flag was on corrections. The bacon hit the wrong way. So that was the Crusaders scoring play. They ended up losing 8-6, but great play by Leak. And again, it's week 1, so it's pretty tough when it comes to getting offenses to work in week 1. The Ducks game. Let me show this one real quick. All right. So Ducks game. Boom, boom. This is Ducks and Bulldogs. A little Marcus Allen action like that. No. And now that's my son that's sending messages. Cool. All right, so that was the clinching score by the Bulldogs. Again, we mentioned. Oops, sorry. Here we go. Well, indoor football action. This was ECFL Warhawks versus the Bruins. Isaiah Batchelor at the controls for the Warhawks. If you don't know who Batch is, Batch played football overseas professionally. Gets him to go offside, little play fake, boom, fits that ball in.
Offsides. The defense. The penalties decline. Touchdown.
Great job of those guys. So it definitely says adding. Boom. Cool. So that was that game. Very cool play from that game. It says connection failed. So try it again. Because I definitely want to get some guests on here. Oh, there you go. And Batch is in here too. So hey, big shout out to Batch for that awesome bit of throwing right there. Appreciate you. So next up, Big East and ECFL. Yeah, that wouldn't happen. Tomcheski. Okay, Big East and ECFL should combine. ECFL. Do you see ECFL's helmets? Do you see that they don't like have uniform rules? That would be the first. Absolutely not for most of the Big East teams. They're not going to do that. They're not going to go 3-4 hours to play a team with Skittle helmets. You see that every week. So that's the other thing. And if the ECFL spring version, again, I'm not sure what their summer version is going to look like, but whatever. If their spring version looks like that, yeah. We used to travel, go to Southern, yeah. But so good point, Bill Nelson. Good morning, sir.
This show is aptly named, sir.
Yes, it's way too early. It is way too early. So Bill Nelson is talking about how they used to travel to go to South Carolina and Connecticut and such. But again, the biggest issue is the ones that are playing optional football right now, and I will include the whole, if you don't finish a game, it's optional football, is the teams that are lower in the standings. And what I do appreciate, which I think that this year has been the best football that I've seen, the best experience that I've seen on this level of football in a while, is because the lower teams playing lower teams and the middle teams playing middle teams is actually pleasant to watch.
So I want to touch on a bunch of this shit that you've been saying, bro, because it's pretty wild that people don't really understand history.
Now keep in mind we're a family show. Freeze. Okay.
Like, what were the most successful times that we had, like in semi-pro, right? When we always made it local, right? Like the most successful things we did always were the ones that when we created a local vibe. Now, I'm not saying that travel shouldn't be a part of it. I might be one of the most, if not the most traveled team in semi-pro right now. You know what I'm saying? Like, because I went to I took so many risks taking my team on so many trips, but those were all chosen. We chose all those, right? The Gridiron Elite was super duper successful for many years. Why? Because it was all played at mutual fields, right? Like everybody knew we were playing at one of these. At first, it was one field, then it was like 3 fields, but everybody knew where we were playing, and it wasn't like there was no travel involved, and we kept it good. And then same thing with 5-star. 5-star was super successful for many years because we had a 90-mile radius, and we didn't take these guys are booing me. I love it. I can't wait to do my dance.
The tomatoes are a good touch. So let me disagree with you in part and ask you something as a follow-up. I don't think it's the distance. I think it's playing the playing of the most teams that are like-minded organizational wise that makes it a better experience. So the best experiences that I ever had, the Gridiron Elite was an amazing experience because everybody in the Gridiron Elite had the same like goals. They had the same drive. They had the same passion. Like they were like-minded organizations. And when I played up in New England against the Huskies at the time, the Norsemen, Maine Machine, the Bearcats, all of those organizations, some of which I actually had an ownership stake in, it was awesome because we were all on the same page. We all had the same goals and aspirations, which is why we didn't have fights that ended games or, people doing crazy stuff or what have you, because we would just say, hey, I know you. I saw you at the All-Star game. We had these shared experiences. So why you bug it out?
Right. I agree with you. And then Kelman just said Gridiron Elite and 5-star was 12 years ago. People changed. 5-star ended in 2019. That was not 12 years ago. And it ended specifically had nothing to do with why with travel or teams or fighting or any of the stuff.
When the owners, you actually said exactly
right. I was getting to it. Yeah,
you saw what he just said, right? Most owners were actually friends.
Right.
Nearly all of them. So the greater percentage of owners that are friends, the smoother that it runs.
Right. So, but this is what I was trying to get at before. It's not the I agree with you. It's not the travel that kills the teams. It's the forced travel, right? It's the I got a game week 7 and it's very, very far away, 2 hours away. And if I'm on a slide where we're 0-6, listen, whether the owner wants to go or not is irrelevant. The guys ain't going to show up to go to the game. Like he's going to go, how many times has a team on the slide traipsed in with 15 guys? Like if the owner did have the gumption, if the owner did have the wherewithal to take his guys to go, finish that schedule out, like I would do, right?
Mm-hmm.
But it seems to me that we have a lot of owners in semi-pro that are like, you know what? I'm going to spare myself that ass beating.
Right.
And I'm just gonna not finish my schedule, and then leagues are letting them continue to be in the league.
But if the ass beating is the only part of the experience, then of course people are going to opt out of that. However, win or lose, if you go up to Maine to play football, the way that Maine hosts games,
which was nice, by the way.
What's up?
Which was a great experience, by the way.
Amazing experience. And to tell you the truth, I can't tell you, like. Most of my experiences in Maine or up like New Hampshire and such, I don't remember. I mean, we won a few of them. We lost a few of them. I remember the experience more than I remember winning or losing, and I always wanted to make the trip. So the energy was always there.
Right. Again, but to Calman's point and your point as well is you're comparing yourself to some guys who are not, hey, they don't have the wherewithal to do that. I'm going to give you another example because it really has nothing to do with travel. It has to do with a different aspect of the same thing, though, right? Mm-hmm. So, there are plenty of owners where, hey, listen, they don't recruit a good quarterback or they don't recruit enough guys. And, they have 25 guys, but they're like, yo, listen, he said, I know the couch stink. Mally, I'll show you my Zillow and my house is worth over $1 million. You can pipe down, bro. Shut up.
All right, we're moving on.
No, but legit, it's just crazy. Like, there's owners that'll just say, "Hey, listen, I'm not gonna play the games. I'm not gonna even have a team this year. We'll come back next year because I'm just gonna say, hey, listen, forget it. Is Turkel really in this?
Yeah.
Bad season run. All right, so yeah, that's that. Listen, that's what I was just saying. What Turkel said. Like, if you set up travel, and especially
That's
the
Turk talk
travel
right
is
there.
what?
That's Turk talk right there.
Yeah, listen, I'm one of the original Turk people, bro. I'm the one that brought Turk into semi-pro. Like, that's crazy. Like, this guy's in the things. My original coach. But yeah, no, listen. The problem is not really the travel, and the problem is not really just the owners. You know what I'm saying? Like you said, it's a combination of all these things. It's like we're not creating a culture. We're not creating a culture where guys go and travel to play against other teams in other states, make these games huge games, like there was when I started semi-pro. Like, let's say in the 90s, when teams like the Mariners were going around to like Minneapolis and playing real teams in the, in real stadiums, NFL stadiums they were playing in and stuff like that.
Right.
And like, it's just crazy that we're not creating a culture. You know what I mean? Like, because we were doing it.
But
That was the culture.
now hold on for a second, because I think we are starting to create they are starting to create a culture by joining teams like the Crusaders, like the Wolfpack in the I would say ECFL, in the NEAFL, like the Tide, the NEAFL, like some of the teams that have historically been bad football teams, but we've always seen that they are great organizations. So when it comes down to it, I think that you'll see in the next 2-3 years, if it continues on this movement, it's gonna get a lot better, because ultimately the Crusaders, when you play the Crusaders, you're going to get a great experience. Aside from last week, you're going to get a great experience. You're going to play at a quality stadium. They're going to have a band out there. They're going to have the concession stand out there. It's going to be a cool experience. It's a first-class organization, right?
100%.
So, right. So it's even a bonus. Think about it, when they get quality football players to join their ranks, and they keep the same energy when it comes to the quality of their organization and structure.
No, listen, and I'm not denying that what you're saying is true at all. I think that that's really what we should be like sitting around focusing on. And let's just discuss, like, when was the last time we had an owner symposium where owners from other different leagues came together and like discussed, hey, how to make your team better, how you make your league better, blah blah blah, get to know each other. You know what I'm saying? We used to do that all the time.
Right.
And then once we stopped doing that, you got a lot of guys that don't even know each
Right.
other. When we
Now,
had,
I'm sorry, hold on for 1 second. Xavier, you make a point. There's nowhere else to play, and there shouldn't be any else to play if the other options pop up and they're raggedy as hell. So again, it's easier to make a quality organization into a great football team, but you cannot take a great football team and make them into a quality organization. In fact, having a great football team continue to be a great football team, some people have to sacrifice doing organizational things. That part. Continue, sorry.
no. Oh, no, you didn't really cut me off. That was a nice termination to the conversation, because that was really what I was really trying to put forth, is we have to create a different culture, right? Like the teams that we have now, some of them are okay teams, but you're only going to stay, like, listen, back in the day, if you remember, teams would just like go play other teams in far off places just to get the experience. We kept calling it, what do we call that term? Exposure, right? Everybody had everybody was looking for exposure, right? And now we don't have teams looking for exposure. We have teams looking for basically, I don't want to say rigged, because like these guys are gonna turn it into rigged, like, right?
They're looking for short-sighted, great football teams that are household names, but they want to be the one to determine the house.
Right, but here's the thing.
They don't feel comfortable saying the Crusaders are champs, or the Crusaders were the championship game.
Dave,
oh my God,
Dave,
they have to explain something about it.
Dave, let me just. I want to put this to you guys, right? To everybody, really. Not, but I'm just saying, put this to, way too early with Pat. If the system is set up where you can just play 6 teams and then be the top dog in that very tiny pond, and then after you win that very tiny pond, you are now opinion polled into the top of the rankings. You know what I mean? Like, you are considered, right? It doesn't behoove you to go out and play other leaders of the little tiny ponds. It behooves you to go and just play your little tiny pond and not try to get any exposure and just stay at the top. If you're at the top or in the top 15 or 20 or whatever, in your little tiny pond,
Right.
right?
And
Like stay at the top of that
Sean
leaderboard.
Kellman just made the point. Team owners are the problem because they only want chips. They will move to whoever gives them the best opportunity.
Right.
So
But
hold on for a second. So if the players are going to say, we don't want the experience that you OGs had, we just want chips, then we're going to continue with this spiral.
Right, and this is what I'm trying to say to you. If the entire system is based on, right, playing in a very tiny league and then avoiding other competition, right? Because now if you play in a little tiny league and you're dominating everybody else, and then after the season's over, you don't play anybody else, what you're doing is you're participating in a system that is conducive to having small tiny ponds and no exposure. That's the system. That's the system creates that, right? It doesn't like the Mariners used to have to go and play in the Harvest Bowl, and they would have to go through other leaders of small ponds. They would have to win against other big name teams that have beaten up their local competition just to get to the actual national championship. It's the system is completely different now. You win one game and you're like either a national champion, or you play one bowl game and you're ranked on one of these leaderboards, and it's just an opinion poll. It's just, I mean, I'm not saying there's no validity to the ranking. I'm just saying you're on the leaderboard, and if there's no tournaments, if there's no ways for making regional bowl games, then the system is the system. It's just making teams not want to play each other. There's plenty of teams that are within 100 miles of each other that just have never played each other.
Right, and there are, but here's the thing, and that goes back to team owners. We've had team owners or coaches that sit there and brag that they didn't have practice and they won a football game, as though that's something to brag about. But overall, because I want to get back to it, if you're looking at from top to bottom, the quality of organizations that are around right now, I think that we are in a very good place.
So that comes with the whole not adding. All right, so I actually had this exact discussion the other day with Mason, and like, we have a situation right now in the Big East, for example, and we have the same situation in the EFA in the summer, right? Where having less teams means having most of the teams have a totally full roster, right? Like my roster is full. Like I might hit 60. Like I haven't counted, but I'm definitely over 50 guys. Right? There's a lot of teams with full rosters. You know what I mean? Have over 40 players. If we added a bunch of teams, then the teams wind up going and grabbing guys from each other, or guys wind up migrating themselves from each other's teams, and then you wind up having a bunch of teams with 20-something guys, and then the football is not so sturdy, right? The football is not so great. And then those teams, like, listen, if I lose a couple guys to injury, not the biggest deal. I got lots of guys, right? But if instead of having 8 teams or spread out over a big area, we had 15 teams spread out over the same area, guys would be, owners get lazy. They don't recruit their own guys. They go get guys from other teams, right? Other semi-pro known quantities, right? They don't go out and find guys from high school and college or whatever, right? And then it turns around into a bunch of unsturdy teams that if they lose a player or 2 players, that could really mess up the whole consistency of their squad, right? Especially if it's like the middle linebacker or like the running back. You're like, yeah, you got one running back and you lose him. Your team's fucked, right? You can't run the ball, right? Now you got some linebacker living out his high school dreams.
But now you
playing running back
across the board. You have less teams. And by the way, in the good old days, there were people that were complaining that there was too many teams and that it was watered down.
Listen, that's the crazy one. Oh, we got to get rid of some of these teams. It's watered down. Everybody watered down.
Yep.
Right? And those same guys are complaining like, there's only 6 teams. Like, so what? There's only 6 teams. Nobody's stopping those teams after they're finished playing to go play anywhere else in the world. Like, nobody's stopping them.
Indeed.
We don't have rules.
And I will say this because X, you're my guy and all, but here's a dirty little secret that the people that make the most noise on Facebook in terms of these forums do not represent what the players as a whole feel about the game. Because now, especially that I go to other people's games, the amount of faces that I see that are not on Facebook that appreciate just, hey, look, I'm on PDF Network. Hey, I'm on HSG. Hey, I got a TYJ highlights and things like that. They're just chilling and enjoying the product and enjoying the product from their team standpoint, and they love their team, and they're enjoying the league product, whatever it is that the league offers and does for them, as much as that goes.
I
So
I
for
do want.
the teams that things are not going their way, for them to say that semi-pro is trash just because things aren't going their way is not a representation of the game. And that's why you have outsiders from hundreds of miles away saying New York needs better semi-pro football, and they don't even know where the George Washington Bridge is.
So listen, I do really want to hop on that that part of the conversation, because I actually a couple of one of my former players is the director of operations for the New York Dragons, right? The new arena team.
I saw that.
And another one of my former players is like one of their official scouts, and now I've become one of their official scouts, right? So because even the Dragons are looking around, and because they see some quality stuff from like PDF Sports, and they've seen some like quality stuff, and the guys that I had that were playing that are with them played with us back when it was like Gridiron Elite and 5-star days.
Right. Oh, pause for 1 second. I'm sorry. Hold on. Pause for 1 second. And to Todd and the other people that were and Tomcheski, who were talking about we need one league, or the ECFL and the Big East should merge. That's the reason why it doesn't, because Big East owners, they like to do stuff like that. And when you have Skittle helmets and you got raggedy looking uniforms and such, those opportunities don't happen. Go ahead, sir.
So that's why I was saying to you before about the whole quality of the football, or at least quality of the experience. From what like teams like the Dragons have looked at, when they look at semi-pro, they see from the outside looking in, they see things like the band on the field with the Crusaders, and they see other stuff, and they look at semi-pro as a little bit of a higher quality that from outside looking in. If you watch a PDF Sports or a Howard Gaber broadcast, you see like a pretty professional product. Again, there was that league was in the South. I forget what they call XEFL. It was XEFL. I watched one of their broadcasts, and it was like really good. It was like super top quality. It's not just like some highlights. It's not sideline film. It was like a full broadcast of stuff. So anyway, long story short is now I'm actually a scout for the New York Dragons, and I'm literally going and trying to get. My goal right now is to try to get semi-pro guys onto the Dragons so that they can play arena football and create more exposure, and then it looks good for us as semi-pro, because like I got a guy, I brought them this prospect, I brought them this idea, you know what I'm saying? And then semi-pro is looked at in a little bit different light. That's what I'm trying to do, right? And that's what everybody should be trying to do, right? Everybody should be trying to do that, like to some extent, somewhere, something. Like it's crazy to me that the Bearcats have been in existence for a couple seasons, and they got a few semi-pro guys. They got a few of our guys that we played against. Yep. You know what I mean? Like I've had to block professionals before, guys that got paid to play. Right. And this is why it should be like we should be pushing this. Somebody should be working for the Bearcats, or somebody should be working in semi-pro to push guys from semi-pro into arena. You know what I mean? But like, I don't know if we have if we necessarily have it or not. I'm just saying like that's what we need to be pushing.
Right. But not everybody wants to push the same. And getting back to the original point, which we're going to move on in a second and talk about yesterday's games. When you have people that are not like-minded, then there's no sense in you being in a league with them, because you're just going to fuss and fight and argue. And then when the time comes where somebody has to make a decision to play a game or to save some money, they're going to save some money because they're not a like-minded person.
Right, but Dave, we all know that should not be allowed, bro. Like that was a death knell in the 5-star. Like if you didn't play a game, bro, like if you couldn't play a game, we would schedule a shit.
Death penalty. Yes, indeed.
It can't be that, bro. It can't be choose your own football, man. That's not acceptable.
Indeed.
How many years I traipsed around with 15 guys just to honor my schedule, taking one beating after another, bro. Taking beatings, real beatings. Because I didn't have guys, but I didn't just be like, fuck it, I'll just come back next year stronger. Like to me, that's the biggest soft shit. I want to say way worse than that, but that's the biggest soft. That's the softest person. I can't even imagine that. I can't imagine that. I can't imagine being that guy. That would be disgusting. Soft.
Indeed. So, all right. So moving on. So we're talking to the Crusaders. I think. Okay. So Sean Kelman, you guys are roping me back into this conversation. Oh, the broadcast for the Raptors Wolfpack game was probably the best I've ever seen. Absolutely, the camera work was elite. They had the all 22, and then they had another one that was field level that was zooming in, and they were going back and forth. That was the best I've seen on this level. To tell you the truth, if you were talking like the ultimate, I'd take PDF Network's graphics. I would take, oh my God, let me not even just say, what the heck were they? Damn, what was the name of and somebody from the NEAFL knows the network that it was like the flyover network or something like that, that was used in yesterday's game. God, dog. And of course, I'm a little biased, but personalities from the HSG network, because I'm one of them, in terms of the knowledge of the game and the analysis and the breakdown and knowing the teams. If you had the three of those together in one broadcast, woo, golly, I think you'd have something there. But
This is what, you know what, Dave, I really want to beat that point home, because when I was really like considering stopping doing semi-pro. Like I'm doing semi-pro now because my kids play, right? So like it's a chance for me to play a little bit because I'm at the edge of the twilight of my career, right? I'm at the very end. But I was really like, yo, listen, I wasn't really interested in doing semi-pro because we had too many negative too many negative
Flagship network.
personalities.
That's it. Flagship network. Go ahead.
Right. I'm saying there was too many negative like people and personalities in semi-pro, and I was really considering not doing it. And then a couple years ago, we just stumbled upon PDF, and then I'm watching PDF Sports. Right. I'm watching some really cool, like I'm watching some games be broadcast with, and it really rejuvenated me. Like I was like, why didn't we
Very
have
dope.
this the whole time? Right.
Yeah.
Like I'm so mad that we didn't have this the whole time, bro. This is what it is, bro. This is great. And guys really should they should be Twilight 4 a.m. It's way young. You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, it's 6:29 and that alarm set at 6:30. But the guys really, I mean, let them be jaded or whatever, but let them understand that we didn't have this in the 90s and the early 2000s. We were lucky we got highlights in the 2010s. You know what I mean? Like we were lucky when we got highlights.
Sorry,
And they have
I'm
full
gonna
game broadcast.
I'm gonna catch you for a second. Sean Kelman, that's your point about why aren't people flocking to and players and coaches flocking to the Crusaders. I think that we're getting there. We're getting to that point. It takes a little bit of an adjustment period, but I think the trend of going to organizations and the lifestyle being kicked up, the teams that are going to be on PDF and HSG and not Twilight, BNB Media, great job, Flagship, which was the one that did the Raptors game. Like when you see stuff like that, you're going to want to join those programs, and those programs are going to have structure.
Let me challenge. I want to challenge Kelman's comments, because let's just take the Crusaders as the example, as the flagship example, right? Let's take them as the example. 5 years ago, they didn't have any marquee players. They didn't have anybody with any name on their team, and they would just lose to almost everybody, right? They would lose. They were just a losing organization because Taiwan, although a superior owner, was getting inferior players. Like he was getting guys that needed development or that shouldn't be playing semi-pro or whatever. And that's the cycle. You lose, you get more of these second-rate guys. The top-rate guys avoid you, right? And then what happened? We started showing a little bit more highlights of the guys. These guys got an opportunity, and they went to a championship last year. They got into a championship, and now they got guys on their team. They have some marquee names. They have some guys that can play ball, some guys that can play ball for any team, right? They did.
He has highlights of his team playing at multi-million-dollar facilities,
right?
Of being on coach buses, of doing things that you're like,
they need a couple. Listen, they need a couple more seasons of opportunity to not get trounced by a team that's like an overwhelming talent. They need that and if they get that, they will keep increasing, and eventually they will get to the point where they are a top organization, and they're an organization that teams will talk about. Once you're at the top, it's very, very hard to have a really, really bad crash. And once you're at the bottom, it's so very difficult to move your way up, right? And then when you're in the middle, it's always that just, oh my God, what happens next? You're like, the middle's crazy because it's like chaos. It's like you get some guys, you're good, and then those guys go to another team, your team stinks, right? It's like up and down, up and down. But once you're really at the bottom, it's hard to climb out. And once you're at the top, it's almost difficult to lose, right? You keep getting the best players, keep just migrating to your team.
Right.
It's hard to lose. You don't even have to have a strategy. You just put them on the field and let them win. You don't even have to just call safe plays.
Right. And I think for the last piece of it is social media that we're blaming for everything. Social media could be our way out.
Yeah.
Again, if we get to
it could also be the solution.
Yeah, it could be the solution, which means that, hey, if we have to take PDF or a network and take them to practice in order to get players to practice, might have to do it. When we did the TV the reality show with Dexter Gervin and MLF, they broadcasted practice, they broadcasted the experience, they went to guys' work to profile what they were doing for a career or what have you. So if you actually do something like that, then players will actually gravitate toward practice. And again, I'm one of the ones that had 40, 50 man practices routinely.
Turk, I'll invite you to do Turk TV anytime, bro. You could do that shit in the summer with us as a pilot. I'm with it. But this is what I'm saying. This is what I was going to say to you, Dave. Like, why the hell isn't somebody like we're relying on somebody to come in with millions of dollars and do a professional thing? Why don't we do our own, like Guerrilla TV, this shit, bro? Like, why don't we do it ourselves? There's nothing stopping any team or any league from putting together like a camera to check out the team's practices and interview the guys and listen. Some of these guys don't got nothing else going on in their lives. This is their one chance to be not famous, but to have something going on. It's a drudge to me sometimes. When I work
by the way,
Amtrak,
even before social media, there was plenty of times where I would walk around the city and bump into somebody who knew me from semi-pro football. Like, it's funny. You could go down and when you're in the subway system, the dude that's driving the train could be a semi-pro football player from the Bandits. Or you get on the Amtrak and you're bumping into somebody from.
I ran into a guy that came to my practice that played for another team. I ran into a guy at Disney World. At fucking Disney World, dude. Like you could run. Everybody can be semi-pro guys, and this story is interesting. This story is sellable. This story is cool. Listen, when I worked for Amtrak, it was drudgery, man. I was working 16 hours days, 7 days a week sometimes. I was only taking off days for football practice and days for and days for the games. It was a drudge, right? But football was my only it was my only life. It was my only thing, right? So I'm sure I'm not the only person like that. You know what I mean? I'm sure a lot of guys that they got nothing going on in their lives other than their job, a very boring home life if they have a good home life, right? And then football, that's the thing. So why wouldn't we create a product that's better for them, better for everybody? Look at how people go crazy for a Bleezy show, for too freaking early with Patt. People go crazy for this stuff. We need to up that. We need to make that better.
Yeah. So Sean Kelman just made a point, and I'm going to move on. So I'm going to let you go from here. So enjoy your day, sir.
I will talk to you later. Thank you for having me on. It's way too early for this.
My God. So to go back to what Kelman said, and I'm going to move on to the rest of the highlights from this weekend. Which person commenting is new? That's a good point. But here's what I'm trying to do, especially roping in new areas. We got Midwest guys. You see, I've done interviews with Duncan. You see, I've done interviews with people from up in the New England area, try to get a different mixture of people, some fresh faces in, and kind of get their network of people in, because there are people that don't want to be on social media. They actually are looking. They're actually looking and they're watching, because I see the amount of views that we're getting. And the more you rope in their local versions of Sean Kelman and Sean Spencer and David Patterson, the bigger the audience becomes. This live should be a live conversation on how to make things better. Boom. Hey, a better overall product. And I think the product is getting better overall. Speaking of the product, let's get back to yesterday. This is Golden Lions versus Panthers. And you know that the Golden Lions have a stable
Let's
running
look for that
back.
even to make another big stop. And this one is not blocked. It's a nice high punt.
One of their running
And
backs
it's
from
going to bounce
23.
at the 35. Now it's a live ball. Lions have to pick it up, and they do it at the 40. Number 23 cut to the outside. Let's see if he can go. Needs a couple blocks, and he'll get him, and he's going to go all the way for the touchdown. No flags.
Big shout out to Stephen Yor. He even used my doctor conversation as the doctor scored another touchdown yesterday. That was that game. Oh, Chargers and Falcons. Falcons put up numbers yesterday, including this bomb.
Donahue back to pass. He's going deep. He's got a wide open receiver. 51-yard touchdown pass from David Donahue.
Big shout out to Tez TV, another one. TYJ is another one. We got a whole bunch of great filmmakers, documentary people, media people, photographers. Nia's out there. I know Spin Move. All of those folks do an absolute awesome job, and we want to make sure that the products are filmable. You know, don't have them come out there to film some garbage. You know, actually, you know, give me something that we can document. So that's it for the highlights for this week, and I will post obviously the better version because I know you're not going to sit there and like the fact that I'm just switching the camera on it and calling it from there. I have the spreads for this week. I don't have any AFLs written down, but I will give you those in a second. So let's go Big East first. So besides the Bengals-Lions game today, this is next week's schedule. You have Golden Lions at the Dolphins. The Dolphins and the Wolfpack played a heck of a game, went into overtime. So they played a very, very close. Golden Lions, let's see. They have to hit the road this time and go see the Dolphins. Still almost a 2-touchdown spread on this thing, 32.5 on the over-under. Wolfpack coming off a bounce-back game, playing at the Crusaders, so we get to see the Crusaders the first time in league action. Crusaders played a very tough one with corrections. Everybody thought that they were going to get blown out, and they absolutely hung in there with it was 8-6 on the loss, but let's see if they can get their offense going in week 2. That might be the game of the week, Wolfpack and Crusaders. Green Wave traveled to the Black Panthers. That's the recipe for disaster. However, the only little ray of hope that we have that this thing is going to go 4 quarters is the fact that Green Wave have to go all the way up to Springfield, so maybe the Black Panthers get a little bit of home advantage and get their players out to a local game, kind of to get off of the canvas, so to speak. In the ECFL, you see down here, we have Warhawks and Raiders. That over-under is going to be on whether they actually play the game or not. Again, optional football this past week, and Warhawks going to their yard. Although, again, would have liked to see how the Warhawks do with a little bit of travel, even though it's not crazy going from New Hampshire to Connecticut, but would have been nice to see. But doubt that's going to happen if I'm a betting man, which I am. Cardinals and Bulldogs. This is an intriguing game. Bulldogs with a big victory over the Ducks. Was that just a fluke one-time thing because they were down in most of the game? So maybe we're starting to see a trend. Who knows? And then the Falcons at the Bruins. Bruins struggling to score on offense with the donut last week. This one, as you can see with the spread and the over-under, looks like the odds makers are trending towards seeing another one of those. So let's see if the Bruins, again, they are home. Problem is the Falcons are a Connecticut team as well, so it's not nearly as cut and dry as home field advantage, but we'll see. We'll see. So again, we like to see the games get played. We don't like to see blowouts. But so far we haven't been too bad. We haven't been. So on the NEAFL, tied in the Eagles, tied are 4-0 Eagles are 1-3, and my resident expert said the youth movement continues for the most improved team in minor league football. The Eagles are in danger of missing the playoffs. The tie will be too much for the Eagles. He has the Tide as favorites, 7.5, and the over/under at 25.5. That's just hot off the presses. Boom, 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 boom. Breaking news. Raptors, who were 2-2 at the unit, who are now 3-1. The Raptors lost a tough one in the final minute. The unit are one bad afternoon from being undefeated. So the Raptors' defense is stout and their offense is sluggish. The unit has the firepower to score with anyone, but just needs to put the pieces together. The unit opened up as a 4.5-point favorite, with the over/under being 25.5. Panthers 2-2 at the Wolfpack 3-0. The Panthers could easily be 4-0, but lost two very close games, while the Wolfpack are an uninspiring 3-0. Wolfpack quarterback play must get better for them to be successful. The Wolfpack open is just a 3.5-point favorite, and over/under on this one is 27.5. Pretty good analysis there. Appreciate it. Militia 3-0 at the Owls 1-3. The Owls are a lot better than their record indicates. Oh, did I skip the game? I definitely skipped the game. Sorry. Wow. Wow. Sorry. I didn't mean to do that on purpose, although it is funny that I did that. The Knights and the Vikings, a battle of 0-3 teams, two struggling programs. The Knights have not scored this season. The Vikings have players who can break long runs for scores. The Vikings open up as a 6.5-point favorite, 13.5-point over/under. So that one could be that's going to be a tough one. But again, Vikings, got to stop with the penalties, guys. Got to stop with the penalties. Militia 3-0 at the Owls 1-3. The Owls are a lot better than their record says they are. We're all waiting for the inevitable Owls breakout to occur. The Militia is easily the most complete team in the league. They have had 3 laughers so far, and their games have not been competitive. The Militia opened up as an 8.5-point favorite. Over/under for that one is 35.5. So, boom, there we go. So that's that one. And those are our spreads for the week. Wolfpack on easy cash. Okay. Got to give Bleezy some credit. Dolphins. That was accurate. Okay. Got it. All right. So, hey, good morning, Sadiq. How are you, sir? So I told you that the spreads would warm up as the season goes. So now I do want to get, if Sadiq, if you are available, please you could absolutely join the live. However, if not, talk to me in the comments section. This is where I'm at so far with the updated rankings. Good morning, sir. How are you? So this is the map according to Pat. I got to update the date on this thing, but this is what I'm thinking so far. And again, we have one more game to go, so this is not locked in yet, but this is where I'm thinking with this thing. So my top 10 so far: Militia, and from the NEAFL 3-0. They again have kind of walked through. Hey, what's up, Skinner? Number 2, Green Wave at 2-0. Golden Lions dropped to 3 at 3-0. Last week, that switch occurred based on performances, right? Number 4, Wilmington Wolfpack. The Wolfpack had a more inspiring victory this week than the Tide, which is how I have the Wolfpack jumping the Tide 4-5. Warhawks come away with an impressive victory. They did what they were supposed to do. They did what they had to do and did it the way that they were supposed to do it against the Bruins. So they move up a little bit and also get some assistance from some teams losing games. The unit, again, that one, they really want to claw back that one loss. Again, one bad afternoon, and they're looking like a regular team. But I think they are the team that is going to start to exert some dominance and be a team to watch on the back end of the schedule. Falcons, an impressive victory, although competitive wise they weren't playing one of the better teams, but they're 3-0, and with the assistance of losses by some of our top 10 teams, they move up into the top 10. Bulldogs, with their victory over the Ducks, they're the ones that moved the most spots because the Ducks team was very impressive, and the Ducks team had them down late, and with a fourth quarter comeback, they came back and showed their mettle. So that 10 spot is open, and this is what I'm thinking, right? Boom. So now the Ducks, with that one loss, do they drop completely out of the top 10? Well, that really depends on what we see today. If we see a Kingston Lions team that ends up being what we saw last week, if they could do to the Bengals what they did last week, then you might see them go from 14 and jump up to the top 10. Because at that point, you'd have to say that the Kingston Lions, head-to-head, would be the favorite over the Wolfpack. The Raptors, who are, they're impressive, but I wasn't really inspired by what they were doing this past weekend. So, especially with their loss, it's going to be tough, right? You talked all that. Yeah, I did. The Ducks, the Ducks were playing good football. And by the way, if you looked at the game, the Ducks didn't play. Like, it's not like the Ducks just gave away the game. The Bulldogs might be for real. You might have to give them credit, right? So, do the Ducks belong? Maybe the Ducks belong. But again, if I see a Kingston Lions team that has some firepower, then I might have to make that move. So, as you can see, the Crusaders at 0-2, they moved up even with the loss because I think everybody had them being completely destroyed by the correction. So that's as good of a loss as you could have, I could say. The Owls also move up because, again, they look like they might be one of those Owls teams that come on late and start to move up the standings. The Panthers are kind of losing favor with me. I'm not really inspired by them. The Bengals, I'm Team Bengals, and they're undefeated, sort of. But again, they have a lot to prove today, and that's going to be a marquee battle, which is why I couldn't really mess with it. So Ducks quarterback has thrown 3 picks in back-to-back weeks. That'll do it. So if you throw 3 interceptions, but see 3 interceptions on the turnover ratio, and you only lose by really 1 score. Okay, gotcha. Back end of this thing, Cardinals, very disappointing. Eagles, I think they're a big. What's the bigger disappointment, Eagles or the Cardinals? That's a tough one. Then you have the Bullies, who, again, very tough title defense, not really working really well for them. The Canes, who are struggling. The Bruins, who are not scoring points. Vikings, although the Vikings get a chance to get off the map with their game this week against the Knights, who are pretty close to last. And the new team taking over dead last place is the Raiders for not even showing up. Black Panthers, you got to finish that game too, because you could easily be flipped with the Knights as well. And that is what I'm thinking. So after the Bengals game today, I'll come out with the Northeast standings and kind of take it from there. So that is pretty much it. We did this week's games. We covered last week's games. We talked a little bit about the culture. We had a way too early with Pat Sunday morning. With that being said, I think that's it. Any last minute commentary? Yeah, I think we're good. Beautiful. So enjoy the games. Make sure you tune in. I will post the list. David, I will post the list, no problem. Give me a second. Cool. Probably post the list right now. Way too early with Pat next week will be for on location. So this is no. Did I do that? I didn't do that. I'll post it. No problem. So way too early next week will be on location. It will not be here from the mansion. Not going to tell you where I am, but where I'll be. But should be something interesting, nonetheless. I will not be at games next week, but I definitely would appreciate as much film as possible so we can keep up on the rankings and keep up on highlighting the players and the teams that are doing wonderful, wonderful things, both on and off the field. So if you have an off-the-field event that you're doing, team get-togethers where it's after the game, send pictures and highlights from that as well. It should be a good time, especially if you're doing some traveling. Again, my teams always, when they travel, had some type of party, some type of thing where you get have some fun afterwards or whatever. So please send that through as well. And I will be doing a live either Monday or Tuesday. I'm going to try to get Steph to help out when we break down the Kingston Lions pass defense. Last week it was Larry Garcia in the Golden Lions pass offense. This week we're breaking down the Kingston Lions pass defense. We have every team in the Big East listed for a Pat Bleezy breakdown, and in similar function, which is highlight something that's interesting about said team, what they do really well, what their plan possibly is, because obviously I don't have anybody's playbook, and then looking forward, how could they be better at what they do well. I think it worked pretty well for the Golden Lions because I heard that Larry Garcia had a heck of a game and was throwing the ball the right way, so maybe we helped out a little bit, something for the culture. Nonetheless, all right, y'all, have a wonderful week, and we'll see you during the course of the week. Later.